We live in a high-tech world. There's not a day goes by without hearing the phrase .com this or .com that. And we must understand that the internet, it's not going to go away, okay? I'm not like some that say you need to smash your computer and bury it. The internet's not going to go away. It's going to get bigger and faster and stronger and more appealing every single day. Actually, the internet of today is much like the invention of the telephone back when your sponsors were just graduating high school in 1876. I found this memo from Western Union in regards to the invention of the telephone. Here's what it said, quote, "This telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is apparently no value to us." Obviously, we could not live without the phone, could not live without the cell phone. Some of you got like this fear, whenever you get out of cell range, you just kind of freak out. It is part of life. Although I think we could. I see what I mean? They're ringing right now. I think we could get by without some of those answering machine messages, kind of like this one. "Hello, you're talking to a machine. I'm capable of receiving messages. My owners do not need siding windows or a hot tub, and their carpets are clean. They give to charity through the office and don't need their picture taken. If you're still with me, leave your name and number, and we'll get back with you." Or this one, "Greetings. You have just reached the Sixth Sense Detective Agency. We know who you are and what you want. So at the sound of the tone, please hang up. If you're a burglar, then we're probably at home cleaning our weapons right now and cannot come to the phone." We live in a high-tech world. Girls, the day's quickly coming. In your kitchen, when you get married and have your own home, everything in your kitchen will be computerized. Your refrigerator will have a scanning device. It'll know exactly what you put in and what you take out. You could be on your way home from town. Your cell phone rings. You answer it. It's your refrigerator calling you. It says, "Would you please stop and pick up a gallon of milk and 2 or 3 dozen Dunkin' Donuts," or something like that. We live in a high-tech world, but I want you to understand there is a dark side to the internet. And the dark side sometimes is very difficult to avoid. In fact, you could put it this way. For centuries, Satan has been hurling fiery darts. Gang, today he's gotten his hands on a weapon of mass destruction. Let me tell you why I spent literally hundreds of hours on this one message alone. In 1 week here at the Wilds, 3 different teenage girls came to me. Very similar stories, even though they were different homes. And it sounded something like this. They said, "Rain, can I talk to you?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" I said, "Well, the other night at home, I had to use the restroom. I woke up in the middle of the night, and when I was walking down the hall, I thought I heard or saw something in the living room. When I looked in, I saw my dad, and he was watching that pornography on the computer. And I don't know what to do." Remember a boy, a junior in high school, came and said, "Rand, you really got to help me. I got this big problem." He said, "When I get home from school, my dad has a home office. We play this little game. I normally sneak around and bang on the window, and it scares him. And the other dad's just ready to bang on the window. When I looked through, I saw what he was watching. I figured it had to be a pop-up or something to get rid of it, but he went to another site. I really didn't know what to do, so I went in and got Mom. We went down to his office. Of course, the door was locked. Time we got in, he had his computer shut down. He denied everything, but Rand, I know what I saw. My problem is he's not just my dad. He's also my pastor. And I don't know what to do." And I started digging through the Word of God to see, what does God say about the internet? I did. I took my Strong's Concordance. I looked up internet. I looked up computer. I looked up you got to get a Dell dude. I looked up all this stuff. And it wasn't until I came to this one passage in Ezekiel chapter 8 where God gave Ezekiel this incredible vision. Now, I know. God did not write Ezekiel chapter 8 just with the internet in mind, okay? But you have to remember that to God, 1,000 years is but a day, and a day is 1,000 years. Like for God, 2,000 years ago was like the day before yesterday, okay? And what was happening in Ezekiel's day is the same thing that's happening amongst God's people today. Ezekiel was not some elderly bearded prophet. He was 25 when he was taken into captivity. They murdered his wife when he was about 27. At age 28, God gave him this vision. And basically, he was saying this, "Ezekiel, I want you to see what's going on right now in the midst of my people." Follow along as we read through this vision. "It came to pass in the 6th year, in the 6th month, and the 5th day of the month, as I sat in mine house, that the elders of Judah sat before me. And the hand of the Lord God fell there upon me. Then I beheld, and lo, a likeness as the appearance of fire," describing here the glory of God, okay? Painted on a backdrop of incredible wickedness of God's people. "From the appearance of his loins even downward fire. And from his loins even upward is the appearance of brightness as the color of amber. I love that word, ember. That's my wife's name. Verse 3, and he put forth the form of a hand. He took me by the lock of my head, and the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven, and brought me to the visions of God, to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looketh toward the north, where was the seat of the image of, say the next word please, jealousy, which provoketh to, say it again, jealousy. Verse 4, and behold, the glory of the God of Israel was there, according to the vision I saw in the plain. He said unto me, Son of man, lift up thine eyes now the way toward the north. So I lifted up mine eyes the way toward the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, this image of, say it, jealousy in the entry. Now let me stop there 1 second. When it speaks of God's jealousy, it is not the same kind of jealousy that some of you have experienced or watched others experience. You ever see a couple who are main item going together, going out, going steady, where they're like really mad at each other? There's one girl came here, and we have phone for emergency use only. And I was walking through the lobby. She's in there talking, and I said some of her girlfriends are outside. I said, is she talking to her boyfriend? I said, yeah. She has to check in 3 times a day. She's not allowed to talk to one other boy while she's here. I said, you're kidding. So, ooh, watch this. I have a key to the phone booth. So I opened it up, and let's just say her name was Michelle. And I got real close. She looked at me, and I said, come on, Michelle. You said you're going to the snack shop to have a milkshake with me. Hurry up. No, it's not true. It's not true. And you've seen it, You go bowling with friends, and everybody's throwing the ball between their legs and having fun, but there's one couple sitting over here, and she says, you looked at her. You think she's prettier than I am, don't you? You can see those things go on. Now, God's jealousy is totally different. God is not jealous of. He is jealous for us. God knows exactly what kind of love can reach down and grab a hold of your heart and pull it away from him. 15-year-old boy, homeschooler, came to me and said, Rand, Mom and I were doing a homework assignment on a computer, and that pornography came on the screen. We have no idea where it came from. We quick turned the monitor off, rebooted the computer. Then he told me this. He said, Rand, I've never seen that stuff before, and I've never seen it since, but I want to. And you know how this kind of love can grab a hold of your heart and pull it away from God. Look at verse 6. He said, furthermore unto me, Son of man, seest thou what they do? Even the great, say the next word please, abominations. Whenever you hear the word abomination, you should think hate, hate, hate. Even the great abominations that the house of Israel commits here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary. Do you see what's happening here? God said, Ezekiel, my people, they're choosing to be involved in that which I hate. They're driving me out of the sanctuary. They don't want to worship me anymore. You cannot spend Saturday night filling your mind with trash and think you can walk into your church Sunday morning and freely worship your God. Those who become addicted to the dark side of the internet, one of the very first things to go is their personal quiet time, God and I time, their personal worship with God. Have you driven God out of your worship? He says, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations. And he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then he said unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. When I dig in the wall, behold, a door. It almost sounds like a computer-generated game here. And then he said unto me, go in and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. So I went in and saw, behold, every form of creeping things and abominable beasts and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed on the wall round about. When Ezekiel walked into this room, there was graffiti, both words and pictures on the wall, that depicted the most perverse, wicked immorality that was associated with the idolatrous worship. The dark side of the internet has kind of decreased the hurdle of shame that used to come with filthy, dirty, wicked old men going off to adult bookstores. Now all you got to do is go home from school. Make sure nobody's around. Start clicking away. You know the number one time the most teenagers struggle with this? 3:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon. Because there's nobody home to watch you. Verse 11, there stood before them 70 men of the, say the next word please, ancients. And seriously, I'm not trying to be funny here. You know who the ancients are? That's you, Dad. That's you, Mom, principal, pastor, teacher. And much of my counseling is not just the struggle here the teens are having, but the ancients, those who should know better. I've had teen guys weeping in my office saying, Rand, Mom and Dad were married for 24 years, and Mom met a guy online and she left us. Girls that are scared to death of their dads and have to push dressers in front of their bedroom doors at night because they know what their dad's watching online. No kid should have to grow up that way. It says here, in the midst of them stood Jezaniah, the son of Shaphan. Who's that? Shaphan read the word of God at King Josiah when they had the great revival. Jezaniah heard his daddy read the word of God. And even today, I'm not preaching to teens who don't know God. We know God. We know what he loves. We know what he hates. Isn't it amazing? We still choose to be involved in that which he hates. He said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery, in the rooms of his imagination, for they say, the Lord seeth us not, the Lord hath forsaken the earth. These guys don't know God very well. He has not forsaken the earth, and he does see. What do you do in the dark when you think nobody will ever find out? What do you do when you're all alone and you think you can cover or hide your sin? There's a false sense of privacy that comes with the dark side of the internet. Verse 13, he said also unto me, turn thee yet again, thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. And he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. Who is this? This is a false god. Once a year, women gather together and worship this god. Every form of wicked, perverted immorality involved, even to the point they were killing their babies and sacrificing them to this god. When Constantine came to rule, he saw this type of worship was so vile. He abolished the whole thing, and it says, turn thee yet again, thou shalt see greater abominations than these. What could be worse? Killing their own babies, every form of immorality. This is one of the problems with the dark side of the internet. You see, a book has a final chapter, a movie has a conclusion, but the internet has no end. It goes on and on, getting more deviant and more disgusting as it goes. Verse 16, he brought me to the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men. Again, describing spiritual leaders here. It says, with their backs towards the temple of the Lord, their faces toward the east, and they worship the sun toward the east. Do you see the digression going on here? These people said, God, we don't want you in our life. We don't want to worship you. And now they're turning their back on God, and they're only worshiping that which satisfied their flesh. I preach a lot of Christian school graduations. Recently, one school that comes here, they were walking down the aisle, walked out into the lobby, had to carry their Bible for graduation. When they hit the lobby, one of the girls took her Bible, threw it in the trash can, said, well, I guess I won't be needing this anymore. Man, I hope that's not in your heart. You are eagerly anticipating pushing God out of your life. Verse 17. He said unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Is it a light thing to the house of Judah? They commit the abominations they commit here. Is it a light thing? Is it no big deal? Is it a light thing? Doesn't it bother you? Is it a light thing? Doesn't it tear our hearts out when we choose to be involved in that which God hates? He said, they filled the land with violence, returned to provoke me to anger, and lo, they put a branch to their nose. What does that mean? The same way today somebody can show his contempt through vulgar sign language. They did the same in this day to show their hatred and contempt towards God. The last verse is pretty sad. God says, I'll deal in my fury. Teens, I hope you don't think that sin does not upset God, because it does. He says, mine eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in mine ears with a loud voice, yet will I not hear them. What does that mean? When we sin and ask God for forgiveness, does he forgive us? Yes or no? Yes. Does he always remove the consequences of sin? No way. These people said, God, we don't want to worship you anymore. In fact, God, we don't even want you in our lives. And you know what God said? He said, okay. Teens, the ultimate of God's wrath is not chastisement and correction. It's when God gets quiet and turns you over. These people were taken into captivity. Men had no say about their lives. And women in captivity basically are regarded as a piece of trash to be used, abused, and thrown away. The dark side of the internet is doing the same thing. Pornography is enslaving. They say it's more addictive than much of the heroin that's on the market today. And on the dark side of the internet, girls, women, you're a piece of trash. To be used, abused, and thrown away. We're going to walk back through this passage, and I want to show you the power of the dark side of the internet. Once you understand its perversity and its privacy, or I should say its false sense of privacy, we're going to look at its price tag and what it'll cost you, and then what we can do today, right now, in regards to its prevention. The power of the dark side of the internet. There stood before them 70 men of the ancients. Teens, I want you to understand, there is no one beyond the power and the pull of the dark side of the internet. No one. Not you, not your best friend, not your boyfriend, not your girlfriend, not your mom and dad, not your preacher, not me. No one. Do you know right now on AOL, over 40% of all internet traffic is adult-oriented? And statistics say that 75% of men who access the web have already chosen to access pornography. If I ask 10 of you guys to stand up, then ask 3 to sit back down, statistics would say that the other 7 have already chosen to be involved in this. Teens, this is spiritual warfare. No matter how godly you think you are, no matter how strong you think you are, you better be careful. Who is one of the strongest men in all the Bible? His name, say it, Samson. What destroyed his walk with God? His incredible lust for strange women. Who is one of the wisest kings in all the Bible? His name? Solomon. 700 wives, 300 cucumber vines. Did he have a problem? Yeah. And again, his love for strange women pulled his heart away from God. Who is one of the most godly kings in all the Bible? His name? David. How old was David when he sinned with Bathsheba? You ever think about that? He's about 50. His boys were already in their mid-20s. Did David have a heart for God? Yes. Did David sing praises to God? Yes. Did he hate sin? Yes. Did he choose to sin? Yes. Wherefore let him that thinks he stands take heed, be careful, watch out, lest you fall. Gang, we better watch and pray, lest we enter into this temptation. I mean, the spirit is ready. It wants to do what is right, but the flesh is so weak. Speaking of the strange woman, the Bible says she has cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Focus on the Family has a hotline, a care line for pastors only to call. According to their statistics, 1 out of 7 calls are pastors addicted to internet pornography. This is warfare, gang. Does the internet offer a problem for girls? Yeah. I used to say not as much with the visual, but as you know, that is really changing now. I mean, the numbers of teens that I've had to counsel whose minds are filled with such perversity that they just can't get victory. But there is another aspect to the dark side of the internet, and that's with the high-tech communication. Whether it's chat rooms or IMs or P2P accounts or blogs. In many of these instances, you don't know who you're talking to. Even though you think you do, you don't. FBI did a sting operation. They brought a lady FBI agent into a chat room reserved for teenage girls only. There were 22 other girls in the room. They had the technology to trace all those lines. When they did so, out of those 22 girls, all 22 were men pretending to be girls so that maybe they could get some information and maybe even a phone number or an email address. The world we live in is incredibly dangerous. What about the perversity? Teens, I want you to understand that every form of wicked immorality is online. And what are the dangers? What are the dangers for you, for your kids? You say, my kids? Do you know most of you will be married in the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50 years? Yeah? You have kids. For many of you, like next 7, 8, 9 years, you're actually going to have some kids, 3, 4, or 5 years of age. Like they get up Saturday morning to watch some cartoons. By that time, internet, TV so integrated, they won't go from channel to channel. Now they're going from like website to website. You understand the danger? What are the dangers? Easy and anonymous access to pornography. You used to have to search and hunt to find this trash. Now, you're like 2 clicks away. The severity of the internet pornography. Do you realize the internet is home to thousands of images that would be illegal to sell in adult bookstores today? What are the dangers? The distribution of child pornography. And I'll be very discreet here. But you know what I do when I'm not preaching or leading a hike or running the swing or being stupid in our skit time? You know what I do? I sit with teens just like you. And what do you do when you got a 14-year-old girl in your office? Her mom's boyfriend raped her and she had AIDS and she's going to die. Or a 15-year-old girl, similar thing happened to her, only she got pregnant and they forced her to have an abortion, and she's in my office screaming, "They made me kill my baby!" Every time there's any child pornography, some kid's life has been destroyed. Some kid's life has been wrecked. It could be your little brother and sister. It could be your son or daughter someday. I read a book entitled Safety Net, Guiding and Guarding Your Children on the Internet. Chapter 4 is entitled, Why is the Internet a Pedophile's Playground? Another article from ABC News, Stalking Internet Pedophiles. That a guy poses Ripcord, a child porn producer who met Nate to Snake. Get this, a 21-year-old student pretending to be a kindergarten teacher. They meet in these chat rooms. They send their images back and forth, and in this case, often encourage the further abuse of children by increasing the demand for new images. Do you know in America right now, 1 in 3 and 1 in 7 guys, 1 in 3 girls, 1 in 7 guys, it is estimated you will be abused in your lifetime? UNICEF predicts that this coming year, over 1 million kids will be abducted worldwide just for this one purpose alone. And yet sometimes we want to make all these excuses about what we can do. NBC had a prime time just dedicated to the misuse of MySpace. I'm an enemy of MySpace. After 18, it's impossible to be private. Even at 16, you can't, although those above 18 can't get into your site. I was in my office with a couple college guys. I said, "Hey guys, your good's been evil spoken of." "What?" I said, "Hey, I want you to pull up your MySpace account on my computer. I don't want to know your password, just pull it up." "What?" "Yeah, come on, pull it up." We spent 40 minutes with these two guys. My favorite TV shows pushing every form of wickedness that God hates. Listing rock groups that glorify suicide and attacks on parents. Conversations with their friends that were filthy, using the F word and all kinds of trash. After 40 minutes, I looked at these guys. I said, "Well, there's one thing I know. You guys don't have a heart for God." And like they got mad at me. "You can't say that. You don't know our heart." I said, "Really? I spent 40 minutes on MySpace, my friends, my music, my TV, and you didn't mention my God one time. Don't tell me you have a heart for God." Many of you on your Facebook or MySpace, do you put the gospel? Do you take a stand against kids who curse, talk filthy? Do you take these little quizzes? They're just vulgar and wicked. Do you allow yourself to be associated with friends that you do not know? The perversity is unbelievable. The wickedness in the dark side of the internet. Sometimes we think it won't affect us. Kind of like a young mom. She wrote this. "I've always felt pornography was bad, that it was harmful. I felt that it didn't affect me personally. We live in a small, close-knit community, and it's not an issue there. I basically felt immune to its effects. A year ago in April, my world was shattered by the effects of pornography. My 3-year-old daughter was raped and violated in every manner you can imagine by a 12-year-old boy. When they arrested the young man, we were told they would surely find sexual abuse in his background, and this is the reason he did this to my daughter. After a thorough evaluation, they came to one conclusion: there was no abuse in his background. But he was exposed to pornography. What he saw not only gave him ideas of what to do and how to do it, it gave him permission to treat females in a degrading, in a debasing manner. And some of you say it'll never affect me. You know one aspect of my job that I hate? It's some of the counseling I have to do. Like I'm in my office with a young mom. She's got a 2 and a 4-year-old child. I'm talking to her husband on the phone. Why on the phone? Because he's in prison. Former pastor. Why is he in prison? Because he couldn't keep his stinking hands off other people's kids. You think he woke up one morning and thought, I'm going to go out and kind of ruin my marriage and my ministry? No way! When he's 14 and 15, 17 and 18 into college, he kept filling his mind with this trash, thinking, it'll never, ever impact my life. Until finally what he was thinking, he started doing. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And some of you who think it's not going to impact your life, you better be concerned. What about his privacy? Or I should even say it's false sense of privacy. He said, as I've seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark. What do you do in the dark? Again, when you think nobody will find out, I want you to know in regards to the internet, there is no privacy. Delete does not mean delete. And your secret sins may not be as secret as you think they are. A normal CD, much like a hard drive, has a hole in the middle, then a ring around the hole. The ring is the index. And some of you are smart. You know how to take care of the temp files and deal with the history, maybe even eat up a couple cookies. It's still there. In fact, smash your computer, bury it. All we have to do is go to your ISP. Depending on what state you're in, they're required by law to keep all information 3 to 5 years of every address of every site you visited or attempted to visit. You say, who cares? I'll tell you who he is. His name is Satan. And he hates your God. One way that he can attack your God is by attacking God's children. That's you. If he can pull your heart away from God, he'll do everything he can. He doesn't want to just entrap you. He wants to expose you. You say, it hasn't happened yet. Hang on, dude. Maybe we're just waiting for the stakes to become a little bit higher here, okay? Till you get married and maybe even are a youth pastor and have a couple small kids. Then he takes you down and brings incredible shame on the cause of Christ. I was walking across the ball field and the girl came up to me and she said, Rand, can I talk to you? And that's normally when they start crying. I said, what's up? She said, not long before I came to camp, I went to check my email. And you know, if you're the last one on the computer, 1 or 2 letters enter, boom, you're there. And she said, when I hit enter, whoa, on the screen, it was so filthy. And part of my problem is I can't get those images out of my mind. I knew it couldn't be my dad. He's a Christian school teacher, a deacon in our church. I knew it couldn't be my mom. She doesn't even know how to boot up the computer yet. I figured it had to either be my sister who went off to college or a friend I had over a week or 2 before. I assumed it had to be the friend, so I called her, and I really was upset. So why would you do that in my home on our computer? Her friend said, I didn't do that. She said, when my sister came home, I confronted her, and she said the same thing. The girl started to cry again. She said, Rand's got to be my dad. And I don't know what to do. I said, can you talk to him? She said, no, I'm too scared of him. I said, do you want me to talk to him for you? She said, would you please? So that night I called him. I said, sir, this is Rand Hummel from the Wilds. Is my daughter okay? I said, she is fine physically. And then I gave him the story that she gave me on how she had worked so hard to prove it would not or could not be her daddy. I ended the conversation this way. I said, sir, either someone's sneaking in your house watching this trash on your computer at night, or you have got a problem. He was quiet for the longest time, and then he said this. I've struggled with my thought life for years, and now it's just too easy. Is that your problem? It's just too easy. There is no privacy. But what will it cost you? God says, I'll deal in my fury, and neither will I have pity. Teens, no one can sin and win. You can choose your sin, but you cannot choose the consequences of your sin. You play this game, I promise you, you will lose. You will lose your close relationship with mom and dad. You'll lose your trust from your future husband or wife. You will lose your purity of mind. You'll lose your close relationship with God. Even the Landers column receives between 75 and 100 letters per week describing the breakup of long-term relationships because of online romance. Most individuals, when they join a P2P account, person-to-person account, Facebook, MySpace, etc., kind of list your reasoning why. For much of it, it is for the social aspect of just looking for that future love, that life mate. It's incredibly dangerous. I'm not saying it's never happened and turned out okay, but it's incredibly dangerous. U.S. News World Report had an article, Saturday night, you're all alone. Why is cyber dating different? In the article, it says it's a lot different because everybody in cyberspace is tall, thin, blonde, and rich. Another one said, help, I met this woman on the net 2 months ago. She thinks I'm a cowboy, a daring Hollywood stuntman, but really I'm just a quiet, skinny accountant. Now she wants a face-to-face. Help! Read another article, this guy in England, he met the woman of his dreams, this gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful 26-year-old girl in America, and he finally saved up the money to come and meet her, and he got to meet her. But she wasn't 26. She was 65. In prison. Hey, Mom, meet my new girlfriend. Yeah. Got an email from a guy. He said, Dear Rand, I caught my dad a couple months ago chatting with another lady. I followed a couple of history trails and found that he had been sending her internet e-cards that were kind of mushy. I approached him about it, and he said he had made a mistake and it was over. I trusted him that it was. Last week, I walked by the computer and I saw him typing an email to someone. Rand, I'm really struggling right now. My parents are both Christians. They have raised me well. I really love my dad, and I don't want to lose him to something so stupid. Jamie was 15, good kid. Homeschool, quiet, not boy crazy, only child. Because she's such a good kid, parents very foolishly allowed internet access in the home with no filters and no blocks. 2 o'clock in the morning, her dad woke up. He just knew something wasn't right. He went down to her bedroom to check on his daughter, and she wasn't there. He didn't know what to do. He quick woke up his wife. They prayed. They went to call the police. Just before they called, she came in. They could not believe the story they were about to hear. Jamie met a boy online and started communicating back and forth and then asking those questions, what do you look like? Well, what do you look like? And then they started using specific words for specific body parts, and basically from that point it just went downhill and got so filthy. Finally, this boy talked Jamie into meeting him face to face, and she did. Problem is, it wasn't a boy. It was a married man with kids. But because they had talked so filthy for those last couple weeks, it was easy for him to talk her into going into bed with him, and she did. Obviously, the parents took it to the police. When the police checked the ISP and kind of tracked some of the things that she had said, they were so filthy, the way I understand it, she got put in a mental institution for 3 months, and basically, the man got his hand slapped. This is the world that we live in. What can we do? What can we do? Hey, you didn't ask to be born in this world. And I wish sometimes that we didn't have to live in this time and space, you know? I wish we could all live back in the days of like Little House on the Prairie. Then all we'd have to deal with was Nellie's attitude, you know? But we don't live in that day. Behold, the glory of the God of Israel was there. We forget that sometimes. God, all powerful, all loving, wonderful, patient, loving God. You don't have to sin. His Holy Spirit lives within you. Be strong in the Lord and the power of His might. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. God will protect you. He'll take care of you. You trust Him, He'll keep you from sin. I was walking across the parking lot. A youth pastor one time came up to me and said, Rand, I got a problem. I've tried 2 or 3 different filters, and each one I can figure out how to get around and get back to the junk. What am I supposed to say? I stepped back and said, what, are you, an idiot? Get the stinking thing out of your life. You don't have to have it, and you don't. And if you're already struggling with this, you better do some radical amputation and get it out of your life. I want to share with you 4 Bible principles on what we can do here. Now, they are Bible, trust me, okay? Secret agent principle, the surfer dude principle, the sumo wrestler principle, I'll explain, and the strange woman principle. Secret agents are cool. My favorite was this dude named Maxwell Smart. He used to take his shoe off, you know, and talk in it as a phone. Secret agents sneak around so like nobody can see them. Let the words of my mouth, IMs, chat rooms, P2P accounts, blogs, and the meditation of my heart, thought life, be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Lord, I want you pleased with everything I say and everything I think. Don't be a secret agent. Don't sneak around to see what kind of sin you can involve yourself in. How do you do this? Accountability. Never go online alone. Make sure mom's there. Make sure dad's there. Brother or sister. Invite the entire senior citizen group from your church over. I don't care what you do, but don't go online alone. Visibility. Never surf in secret. Come on, if you truly have a heart for God and you want to stay away from temptation, then get the computer and the TVs out of your bedroom. You know when you have your struggles. If it's kept down in the basement, you can do your little control tab trick and fool anybody coming down. Get that computer right out in the kitchen where anybody can walk by at any time. Vulnerability. Do you remember when you were little, Mom said, never talk to strangers? Well, don't do it online. There's a lot of danger with all these strangers out there. One girl in Ohio, she was smart. No names, no addresses, nothing. Well, she did say she loved softball. It was number 7 on the team. And that they're going to play the rival team on Friday night and mention the name of the rival team to this guy she met online. Well, he's not dumb. He just Googled that name, found out what state the game was in, traveled there, went to the game, looked for number 7 at a break, called her over. He said, hey, after the game, go to McDonald's. I'll buy you a Coke and I'll take you home. She said, great. And he took her and he raped her. That's what they do. In 2 weeks right here at the Wilds, I counseled 5 teenage girls who snuck out of the home to meet somebody they met online. Out of those 5, 2 of them got raped. And the other 3 chose to throw their virginity away. Again, this is the world that you live in. But you don't have to be involved in all this wickedness. The surfer dude principle. Surfer dudes like, whatever, man. They're not really known for their intelligence, okay? A prudent man, wise man, he foresees evil and he's going to hide. He's going to stay away from it. But the simple pass right on. And they'll receive the consequences. They're punished. Don't surf the web. By the way, you know what the word there for simple is, the Greek word? It's moros. What word do you know sounds like moros? Moron. We're idiots. We're out of our mind. If we think we can mess around with the dark side of the internet and escape the consequences of sin, refuse to surf. It'll keep you out of deep water. I've got a friend in Hawaii. I get to preach there every couple of years. And last time I was there, he said, oh, Rand, I'm so glad you're here because the waves are 15 feet high. He said, well, what do you do when you fall off a wave that's 15 feet high? He says, like falling off a wall that's 15 feet high, but you're not going to fall. And he said, but we got to go early in the week because they say by Friday the undertow is changing and maybe the sharks are coming through. Wait, stop! I'm not going surfing, okay? I still wear swimmies when I get in the bathtub. I'm not going there, got it? Refuse to surf. It'll keep you out of deep water. Know where you're going and what you want. Get in, get it, and get out. Guys, if you would go online like you shop, not like girls or your mom shop, but like you shop, Girls, when they shop, whoa, it's like they're on a mission, They got this outfit, but they need a blouse to match everything else, so they go to a fancy clothing store like Target or Walmart, and the first blouse they pick up, 75% off, only costs $2.39. It's the right size, it's the right color, but they look at every other one in the store before they buy that one, I've been shopping with my wife. I know. You go to the, she said, honey, I'm going to just try on a couple outfits. I said, that's fine. So you go over to the fitting rooms. There's some overstuffed chairs. Men sitting there. I said, how you doing, guys? They said, fine. We called in a pizza. You want to chip in? I said, no, I'm not going to be here that long. And they start laughing at me. One of them had a little boy. He said, hey, how old's your son? He said, I don't know. He was 2 when we came here. It's kind of the way it is. Sumo wrestler principle. Now, let me explain. Sumo wrestlers are cool. All 600-700 pounds of them. When they take that one foot and put down, everything jiggles. Even their chins. They have more chins than a Chinese phone book, So these guys, now I will say this. I would love to eat like one of these guys, but I wouldn't like to look like one. I would get embarrassed wearing diapers in public, so I'm not going there, okay? But one of the things they do, they get in this big circle, okay? And they go, raw, and grab a hold of each other. And they try to knock the other one out of the circle. When you get knocked out, you lose. Gang, I'm not going to spend my life over here right on the edge where one little hit and I'm gone. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay as far away from the edge as I possibly can. You put on the Lord Jesus Christ And you make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. Make it hard to sin, easy to do right. Say it with me. Hard to sin, easy to do right. Say it again. Hard to sin, easy to do right. For instance, I love McDonald's French fries. No, I love McDonald's French fries. But if I ate McDonald's French fries every day of my life, I would look like a supersized Happy Meal, and I don't want to do that, okay? So I got to stay away. With the internet, you need to protect yourself with passwords. The best thing is for mom to keep the password. See, mom doesn't know how to boot up the computer. Better yet, many of you will be married soon. Young married couples should split a password. How do you do that? You get your computer, you sit down, and he's going to sit down first, looks around, kitchen, types in apple. He leaves, she comes down, sits down. She doesn't know he wrote apple, but she knows what they're having for supper that night and types in fritters. 2 weeks later, he comes home from work. There's a little note in the door. Honey, I went shopping with some friends. I'll be home about 8 o'clock. So he's home. He's alone. He's tempted. I know her pretty good. I can figure out what she was thinking. Let's see here. Applesauce. No. Apple Jacks. Apples, peaches, pumpkin pie. Who's not ready? Holler, I. No fritters, no internet. No fritters, no sin. Protect yourself with filters. There's a lot of good ones out there. Here I've mentioned 2 of them, safeeyes.com and besafe.com. You see, I've never heard of a filter that protects 100%, neither have I. 88, 92, 96%, but the difference is you're not going to trip and fall into this junk. The difference is it's almost like you would have to climb over the fence and bust the door down to get to it. I've had so many say, well, if you just say no, you don't need the filter. Even for grandparents. I've stood with weeping grandmas because their grandsons are finding porn on their computers. Many have wireless, unsecured. I've talked to pastors who have had that in their homes. All some guy has to do is pull up in his car in front of your house and download some of this child pornography. Maybe it's a sting operation. Are the police going to come to that guy's car? No way. They're coming to your router. They're coming to your home. And now we have an accusation to deal with. Protect with a delete button. When you get emails that you don't know who it's from, delete it. You say, but Rand, what if somebody's trying to get a hold of me? Duh, they can call you on the phone. It's okay. There's one more principle here, the strange woman principle. Proverbs 5 says, remove thy way far from her, come not near the icon of her website. That's what it means in Hebrew there, okay? Lest you give your honor to others and yours to the cruel, lest strangers be filled with your wealth. Guys, if you go somewhere and sit down with your computer and pull out a piece of plastic and type in 4 numbers, 4 numbers, 4 numbers, expiration date, and like you buy this stuff, you've got a serious heart problem. And you better get with a pastor very soon and get some help. Lest you give your honor unto others and yours to the cruel. For 25 years, a man can live for God. Raising his kids, sending them off to Christian college. 25 years, great testimony in the community. 25 years, faithful in the church, teaching Sunday school. 25 years, doing what is right. One night of sin, and he gets caught. What do people remember about him? Is 25 years of doing right, or is one night of sin? You better concentrate in your relationship with your family. Guys, you think of what it would be like to go home, sit down at your computer, just check a couple scores for a couple minutes, be tempted for 5-7 minutes. All of a sudden you turn and there's mom standing in the doorway, tears rolling down her cheek, watching what you're watching. You concentrate in your relationship with your spouse, or for most of you, your future spouse. Guys, do you want to marry a girl who for years was talking filthy with other guys all around the world? I don't think so. Girls, do you want to marry a guy who for years was filling his mind with this pornographic trash? Is that the kind of guy you want to help you raise your little girl someday? I don't think so. You concentrate in your relationship with your Lord. Ezekiel, do you see what my people are doing? They're choosing to be involved in that which I hate. They've driven me out of the sanctuary. They don't want to worship me anymore. They're only choosing to worship that which satisfies themselves. My prayer for you is very simple. Please, I warn you and I beg you, don't get caught in the dark side of the internet. Let's bow our heads in prayer, please.